going on, YouTube? Welcome to my channel. And from the title, you can already guess what this video is going to be about. It's about masturbation and my struggle with pornography, and both of those things intertwined, and basically how Jesus saved me and is still saving me from that to this day. I just want to get straight into it before I start giving encouragement and stuff like that, because I know a lot of people are going through this. A lot of people are going through this sin. A lot of people are having a hard time with this stronghold. It's something that many people deal with, and it's something that I dealt with a lot too, like for over probably like 9 or 10 years or so, like that. I got exposed to it at a very young age. Not a very young age, because some people get exposed very, very young. But I got exposed around 12 years old to pornography for the first time. I was with a friend, and we had 3 friends there, 2 or 3 friends there, and he just ended up showing us some inappropriate content. And then after that, you know, when I was 12, I looked at it as it was something that I wasn't supposed to be looking at, but it was also something that intrigued me at the time. So I didn't end up searching for it at 12 years old, neither at 13. But when I was 14, I started exploring for myself. It started being some light things. Maybe it's a little uncomfortable, but maybe looking on YouTube for like girls shaking their butts on YouTube and stuff like that, and anything that a young kid will be looking up and watching at that age, around puberty when it first starts, because I didn't know exactly how to get to pornography. So that was one thing. And with that came other stuffs, because I ended up finding different things on YouTube, because back then YouTube had content where you can find inappropriate stuff like pornography and stuff. So I ended up getting exposed to that. And you know how people put links in comments and stuff like that. And then at a young age, at 14, I'm curious, the hormones are pumping, and it was just something that I didn't need at the time. So basically, from that, it just kept going on a spiral of just bad things with that indwelling sin and that stronghold that had over my life, where to a point when I was around 18, 17, I wanted to quit. I didn't want to do it no more, but it felt like it had a hold on me. Like Paul said, there's a war in his members, and I think it's Romans, where he would do what he doesn't want to do, but also when it's time to do right, I don't want to misquote it. But it's like sometimes with that sin, it has like such a hold on you where it feels like you are an enticement, and it just puts you in a trance, and it's like you're now doing this. I don't know, it feels like you're doing it like because you willfully doing it and giving into the sin as well, but also it feels like you got a mind of its own, and it's just controlling you at a certain point in time. And it's like when it gets to that point, it's no good. But the only person who can save us from that is definitely Jesus, because he's taught me so much through the past couple of months. He's taught me a lot, and you know, he's still working on me day by day, and he's still moving me. He's still teaching me a lot of things. But I mean, that sin before used to have me where I used to be productive in doing things. Like, yeah, I would work, I would have different things that's going on in my life that I want to do, but I would find myself never wanting to finish. I would find myself not feeling motivated after a certain amount of time, even to the point where I was trying to get closer to God at different certain times of it, of going through, before, you know, God and Jesus was teaching me what I know now about, you know, consistency and just calling on him whenever you need help, Lord God, and not turning not turning away from him during the moments when when you're down bad, or you relapsed, or you just going into sin that you think that, you know, Jesus don't want to see you or don't want to hear from you. Those are the moments that he really does want to hear from us, and that's something that I had to learn over the years. And a big thing that gets us, I learned from I believe God showed me this, and it only came from Him, uh, through a book, through the preacher Joseph Prince book about condemnation, where it drags us down, where it feels like we can't talk to God when we end sin, like when we have sin like pornography, or we have sin like alcohol addiction, or we have sin like drug addiction, or anything that you feel like you're going to be moving further away from God with. Those things is like devices or tactics that the enemy uses on us, like condemnation. It's like something that he uses to have a hole where we feel like we can't talk to God, or this is where we got to move farther away from God. But that's literally the opposite of what God wants you to do. He wants you to come closer to him during these moments. And it's so amazing that he showed me that, because it really helped me double time. Because now, if you ask anybody, I never had full consistency on doing anything in my life. Like, it would be a point where I would do work, I would be consistent on anything that I do for a short period of time, like for a short season. But after that season, after something goes bad or something goes wrong with it, I end up quitting, and I end up not doing the work that I was supposed to do anymore, because I got lazy, and then I started going back to my indwelling sin. I started going back to the pornography, and it felt like it was destroying my life. Like dreams that I could have had as a teenager, I didn't want to do. Well, I did want to do, but I just didn't have the motivation to do it, and it was crazy. Like, the biggest thing that I want to say is a couple big things, but one of the biggest things I want to say, if you're young, I'm still young. I'm only 23, but if you're young, um, don't hide this sin. Like, don't. That's one of the worst things, and that's exactly what the enemy wants. He wants us to hide the sin. He wants us to be in a state of isolation with it, like where we don't feel like we can go to nobody. And then when you do that, you don't even feel like you can go to God with it, because it's like, if I can't trust nobody here, it's like I can't trust nobody. I can't trust God, and to a certain point in time, I felt like I was doing that, where I felt so much condemnation, even when I was getting right with God. A couple times, I felt like I couldn't go to him. Like, this is the time where I need to get right, and then come back to God. Like, I need to get this sin done with, and then I can come back to God. No, that is exactly what he don't want you. That's exactly what the enemy wants you to do. Because once you do that, you just get caught into a spiral of just going back to where you was. And sometimes, most times, when you go back to where you were after God is bringing you out, and you willfully going back, and you just uh, doing it on your own will, where it's just like you I don't really know how to describe it or say it, but it's just like when you willfully going back, and and I don't really know, but when you're going back and you're doing it constantly, and you're not really saying, you're starting to not talk to God and asking for forgiveness for it, and really wanting help from it, you can become worse than what he brought you out with the next time. Because at that point, the old demons that you used to have, they come back, and they come back double time. And that's just someplace where you don't want to be, where you fall into a reprobate mind, and it just puts you in a place, in a state where you don't need to be. That's something where I'm glad that he's teaching me, because yeah, during the process when I was coming closer to God, I fell a lot, I relapsed a lot, but I kept going, I kept saying things like, I'm the righteousness of God through Jesus Christ, but I wasn't willfully trying to uh, go back into that sin. But also, you gotta know, after a certain point, when you go back into the sin, sometimes it is our own. Most of the time, it is our own desire after a certain point, because after the thoughts manifest, after the temptation comes from the enemy, not from God, because God never tempts us. But um, when it comes, you're just thinking and you're just going and you're letting the thought manifest. And once you do that and you're not doing what's in James, I think it's First James. I don't know the exact chapter, but there's a that says, "Therefore submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you." When you do that and you understand what that actually means, because I didn't really understand what that meant. I was doing it in a way where, yeah, I was saying some scriptures in my head. I was saying I'm the righteousness of God through Jesus Christ when the thoughts was coming. But also I would find myself, on the other hand, doing in my head like, oh, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to do this. Uh, I'm not going to look at pornography. I'm not going to go back to lust. I'm not going to do this like that. But the key word, I was saying I all the time. I was doing it like God was on the side and I need to do this. Like, no, that's the worst thing. That's not the worst thing, but it's a mistake. It's a mistake that I did, and I'm glad God showed me it. He showed me that he showed me that you need to really like submit yourself to God. Like, if you're going through, you having lustful thoughts, you having things that come in your mind where you want to, tiptoe, you want to flirt with, when I say flirt, when you want to go around and just take a peek at pornography, you want to take a peek at, it don't have to be pornography, it could be something that really gets you, it's like a trigger. It could be something, you could be on YouTube and you can get a trigger like to get you to watch some inappropriate content, or it could be social media. It could be many different things that you go through, or you see, or you hear. You really gotta guard your eyes, you gotta guard your ears, you gotta guard your heart, because your eyes are definitely the gateway. You don't want to open up things that's being closed by God. You really don't. Now, when you first getting help, um, it's gonna be some mistakes, some downfalls. I'm not saying nobody's perfect, you know what I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like, you keep on consistently calling on God and you keep on going with Him, asking Him for help, asking Him to help you be delivered from that indwelling sin. You can also even ask to hate that sin where you don't even want to do it no more. That's something that I've learned to ask and do over time, because each time, like, I will have times when I would go back into the pornography and then go to God, and then He'll show me, like, son, or if you're a female, He'll say daughter to you. Like, you'll learn how to hear His voice too once you start to come to Him. But He'll say to you, I don't want you to go away from me. I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at the sin, but I want you to come closer to me. I want you to keep on calling on me. I want you to ask me for help, because we can't do it. And I learned that so many times, where I would fall on my face many times. I would go back into the sin many times. I would say, I'm not doing it for so and so. I'm not doing pornography forever. I would never go back to pornography. I'm never doing this again. I'm never going back. And guess what happened? Each and every one of those times I did it without God. I did it without Jesus. I went back many times over the course of trying to quit, maybe like 6, 7 years. And it's never gonna work on your own. You really gotta let God come in, and you really gotta submit yourself. So when I say that, I didn't even know what it meant before God was showing me. It means basically to when temptation comes, you gotta get your mind, especially if you're in a bored state of mind too. You gotta get yourself surrounded with things that's gonna get your mind off of that. And when I say get your mind off of that, I mean fill your spirit up with things that's gonna get you closer to Jesus. Fill you up with things that's gonna take your mind off that temptation. Fill yourself up with things that's gonna put you in a mindset of, okay, I'm submitting myself to God. I'm not trying to go back to pornography anymore. I'm not trying to go back to drugs anymore. I'm not trying to go back to alcohol anymore. I'm trying to get closer to God. So I'm going to take my mind off of this, not by my own power, but I'm going to go to God and I'm going to ask you for help. And you could do that by in the moment, reading the word. You can do that by reading Bible content if you have like a daily bread or something that you have that is gonna fill you up and put your